Thank you for coming to Revolution X, taking part in the revolution. You know, we played at the Church of Fun just down the street, so we're heading west very slowly. Thank you. We have another band member who will show up momentarily, so feel free to move closer if you like. Excuse me. Well, I'm going to be reading a selection from my new novella, The Pawnee Republican. And I don't think you guys deserve any sort of lead into it, so I'm just going to hit it right now. The two main characters in what I'm about to read are Dude No Way and Oriflamme Plaujabir. So they take a little drive together before they get into some kinky action, which may be giving it away, but who cares? Dude No Way and Oriflamme Plaujabir drove through the Saturday night darkness like youthful minstrels on the moonlight flung, listening to classic rock and looking in the direction whence they supposed they proceeded. Finally, the first part of their descent lay behind them, and the pair stood in their hotel room, toasting one another with champagne as they each took a hit of ecstasy. Dude No Way was so confounded with anticipation that he became speechless and could only utter a heartfelt cry of relief when Oriflamme gave him a blue lozenge-shaped pill, blew him a kiss from the bedroom, and slammed the door shut in his face. It was apparent that affection in the guise of hostilities would soon commence. Still, the fury of passion was wearing off, and the blood which had surged to Oriflamme's brain now stood away from her own impulsive nature. As she slipped into her high heels, she realized that the purpose of her role was to penalize Dude No Way for his sins, even as he committed them. The crime itself would be his punishment, and Oriflamme Plaujabir was breaking Dude No Way in advance of his comeuppance. Oh dear, what's in store for him? Besides, Oriflamme relished the idea of violating Dude No Way for the sins of all the men who had ever given her complaint. Her studied, sly, ensnaring arts would close the performance and eliminate him from any further consideration. Meanwhile, Dude No Way felt a smutty unease now that their covenant was about to be realized. After all, this wasn't his fetish. Oh, poor Dude No Way. But as the drugs came on and he began to get that certain feeling of all those dolphins like swimming through his bloodstream, his hopes returned. Dude No Way sank back into the cushions to watch the light throb, reviewing his depraved fantasies as around him the atmosphere of the room began to accelerate, matching the techno music. Well, I guess it's abstract techno. He sat in the catching bacterium, motionless and dumbfounded by the flashes of light. disguising his inward qualms with an outward calm. That's the last of his good time. The door opened, and Oriflamme strutted into the room, her strap-on swaying like some perverted divining rod. The harassed look in her eyes had given way to an expression of icy cold arrogance, and she posed like a dimensional treasure, enjoying a wild pride in her own beauty. She commanded Dude No Way to his knees with a spoken shot, and he helplessly obeyed, creeping hesitantly towards her across the carpet. Oh. He lay humbly before her, pecking at her high heels like a deprived chicken, boiling and heaving at her feet. Oriflamme slid into the evil hyperspace of their reckless sex, knowing full well that might without mercy is tyranny. Dude No Way was just some unfinished creature, servicing a queen, and there would be no pay for his labor other than her approval. Her miraculous disdain for him gave her body an unconquerable power, and she forced his head onto her strap-on, tugging at Dude No Way and jerking it in his mouth. Oh, poor dude. I'm serious. The Indian's senses were already overwhelmed when Oriflamme Blowjobber seized him by his hair and with a stern and determined grip forced him around. It was clear that his strap-on banquet had been merely the prelude to a much more barbarous ingestion, and Dude No Way's cries vibrated through the being of his tormentor as if he were her prey, being torn to pieces. Raging in his toils, Dude No Way felt much like an innocent left at haphazard in a lawless land. There was no one with influences serene that could save him. Oh, poor guy. He struggled against her well-favored skin, but it wasn't long until his reserves came tumbling out as she demanded. Soundless above them, the banners of moats just stirred to the music. In the stream of his thoughts, Dude No Way felt the prostitution of his spirit. Yet throughout the abasement, it seemed to him that the whole event was a necessary phase and mood of his existence. Even so, such dreams must pass away. And as Oriflamme pulled back, he knew he could surely have found no lower depths elsewhere. How about that? Well, you know, every night has its morning, and I'm sure you're painfully aware of that. Dude No Way awoke Sunday afternoon in the tapestried suites where other missing men had spent so many nights. And beside him, Oriflamme advertised what are generally considered elements of happiness. But grave moments of sedated thoughts passed, and he set his perceptions upon crabbed repentances. But cruel imprints of the night before flashed before him, unworthy of his genius. When it was time to go, Dude No Way felt as though he was leaving only his shadow behind him. Soon the pair were on their way back to Hilltown I, with nothing to breathe but streets, streets, streets. As Oriflamme and Dude No Way left behind the green swards that had been invisible the night before, few words passed between them. Their silences deepened alike by the earnestness of their individual contrition. Indeed, neither one of them suspected that the other was praying for a similar forgiveness. I'm going to read to you now an email that I actually got trying to sell me Viagra. I won't discuss that any further, but I did actually respond to the email, but this is essentially the email that I got. From the desk of Dr. Harry Johnson. From the Fact and Special Duties Office. Dear Mr. Breakwind. My name, Mr. Breakwind. Where'd they get that? Your neglected principles of sex demand a rapturous consultation. Insufficient motionless is far and away the most vexing and insensible vulgar remark that one can make. A man's betrayed breeding has its own horrible production, and only collects deficient objection, offending the very moonlight with its unwilling bitterness. It is doubtful that the confines of two-way bed pleasure can inhabit any projection of such mutual danger, and surely any call girl can corroborate that sentiment. And yet, their husbands repeatedly ask for some more resolution to the sigh that is almost sung by the sexual naysayer. I'm sorry, your manhood is small in its shy and silent way, and your partner can only pretend satisfaction. Past her, you will find that she bears the pain, dispatched like an instrument, her sad disclosure equally musical. Wow. I'll buy a bunch. But they're not done. I am depending on your self-loathings, collected like lost belongings that peculiarly and unpleasantly return. Let your curiosity as to their banishment be my allowance. How do you like that? I was hooked. I had to have some. Get some of that online Viagra. God damn it. So what, it comes from India, they fuck over there a lot. The email continues, my online offer of free Viagra is neither discovered nor applauded in newspapers. Even its frequent and only partial possession has delivered merriment to the attached companions of the favored recipient. It will provide an experience so delightfully dissimilar from your regular incommodious delivery that the sex will try the very strength of the walls of your manor. You will find unpleasing her impossible, and she will have no excuse to suffer. With the favorable assistance of this product, you will cultivate every sex act worth collecting. On appearance alone, the better length of your attachment will astonish her, and you will both celebrate this new interest as you outlast the wedding night bed that you inhabit. Okay? Nice. Yeah, but that's not all.
Wait, there's more.
Wait till you hear this. The passion will be direct enough to make a pervert blush. I'll say it again. Now is the time to remain engrossed in her applause at your new discovery. You will become a ham for attention and concentrate joy. She will now show at your newly unlocked handsomeness. Don't feel directionless by being left at the gate. Mount her like a racehorse at a country estate. Terminate any comparisons to the great lovers in literature. Such a power match will only result in your vindication. Oh, fuck. Your sex limits will vanish like the borders between warring countries that have made peace. Oh boy. This cure is a bomb. It will make you a love hero in 15 minutes. Well, as my name is here, it would be unwise of you to ignore this call. Respect my invited request and answer your misery with adieus. Well, how about that? Well, you know, so anyway, he actually writes back, and they send him some Viagra. Books are for sale for $5. He spent more than that to get here. Oh well, we lost him. That's okay. I wasn't going to read anything gay. How about two people in a hotel room again? You like that? All right. This time it's a man called the Pawnee Republican and his girl, Puss Titter. Yeah, I'm talking to you, guys. The Pawnee Republican booked a run for the month the Grand Hotel semi-rep. A skin warehouse wrapped in its own expensive mysteries. Their bathrooms in mirror television showed the musical fountain by the pool. So he drew the curtains and turned for a backward glance at Puss Titter, standing there in her delightful nakedness. Not the civil restraint of marriage. So he invaded her like a convoy reaching a disputed colony, reveling in their Catholicity and the sureness of their style. All this time, not a word was spoken. Indeed, no Latin versification would make any considerable difference in their pleasure, which was as rich as Greek, to be also as musical. To an observer, this positive ordeal would have appeared to be a contest, each combatant attempting to discover what the other's tongue was like at its furthest end. Their passion was sharp and their fancy luxuriant, but soon their folly timed out, and they both fell back repaired and restored in their rapturous contentment. It was as if the two of them had descended from the mirror over the bed and now broadcast the splendor of a heavenly light. One that showed far more clearly than before. How no other friendship will ever be interrupted by more ardent feeling.
What do you say? How about some abstract stuff? You love being a bit abstract?
I'll give you some of that. Did you ever hear of the composting toilet sailboat and the Great Cox Crusade? Each ecological period, dominant females aiming for their own pleasure, gunning down absurd videos. Most websites cabaret a chap. So what do you say to affect a daughter achievement on it? Even so, in addition to 5 chicks, the guys are just an activity at the Great Cox Crusade. Lead the guys in the direction of the asylum. They realistically come apart, unchained in propinquity of the direction. Well, I don't know, what do you think? Did I get rid of some people? Could do. Alright, this is an angry email sent by a girlfriend who realized her boyfriend was fucking around on her. Okay? Yeah.
Sexy.
You want sex?
Make it sexy.
Alright, this is from Oriflam Flagelbier to do no way. What is up, pubic hair? You better keep your eyes on the next world, cause this one sure ain't working for you. I saw all I couldn't handle the other night, and I'd rather satiate a man on his hands walking alone than deal with you. As far as I'm concerned, you're just another loser, and I would rather turn none than have to be around that. Anyway, maybe this will give you a better name to your porn routine. Me. Hey dude, you. Hey Oriflamme, me. Want to learn a smelly joke? You. Okay. Me. How do you name two nuts on a wall? You. Walnuts. Is that a funny joke? Me. No. How do you name two nuts on your chest? You. Chestnuts? All? Me. More, of course. How do you call two nuts on your chin? You. Come on, I give up on this one. What? Me. My strap-on in your mouth. You. Check. Check. Well, she wasn't very happy.
It's a mirror.
Oh god, you guys are all fucking sex freaks.
Light a joint.
Yeah, light a joint, somebody. Nobody's got a fucking joint. California. Sam, you got a joint? Sam. Sam's gone, no joint. Every fascist dead is a fascist less. One feels so free in it that you will be pleased at any time. There is much work to do. That is your real challenge. Please, don't forget that it's not only missing, it's here without request. It really gets that bad. But you must not think of yourself. Let us hope it's the opposite here. Like pointing at nothing, or weighing those perspectives. There can no longer be any doubt. She put her hand in yours, and was hard on your bigotry. For you are not a young man, and you are through with living. Anyway, you weren't supposed to live forever. See here, the winds have changed. Hurrah, my boy! Online imitative drugstores are the best way to order cheap, fusing, aggravated meds. This is the last day. The last day you can buy 80% priced Viagra licensed copies. I bet you cannot imagine what kind of miserable price it is. Our product works as good as Pfizer's version. The same 5-hour action. The same undefeatable Woody. Only today, we drop prices so you can raise your manhood. You guys are gluttons. You want more or not?
Yeah, what else are they gonna do?
Yeah, what else are you gonna do?
What was it? It was like, you know,
Really dirty one?
Make it dirty. Come on in, get dirty.
Get your dirt.
You want really dirty, huh?
Yeah. Ask who doesn't.
I'll do respect for the house.
Well, this is more of an observation session. $100 bills floating like bits of a chaotic puzzle released from some imposed order. snow globe, cash littering the floor and floating like ether above the ball-bearing and priapic couple. Mr. Breakwind hesitated underneath the poetic shower, then ripped open Puss Titter's dress, sucking at her creamy teats like a luxurious food. They leaned into each other, dropping clothes like immodest and unapologetic servants involved in some bedroom sabotage. Their resolute sex machine pumped underneath the cascade of cash. Puss Titter's socket, perceiving Mr. Breakwind's ambrosial charge like an effervescent initiate. She bent over as their fulsome concatenation continued, twisting her bandwagon tail to match his sexual mastery and indefatigable arousal.
That's about right.
They separated, and Puss Titter drifted across the room like a beautiful continent. Her amygdaloidal sweetness was juvenile and immediate, just what Mr. Breakwind's hooked logic called for. They fell onto the bed, the love cradles in discreet mythology buried by a chunk of century bills. As he lathered on top of Puss Titter, Mr. Breakwind's opus extended into physics, his romantic virtues dodging past any possible heresy. Their decisive exertions reft, a rapturous resolve, culminating with the understanding that each other's needs formed a wonderful symmetry. Puss Titter screamed out with fantastic insistence, and Mr. Breakwind silently came as they orbited each other in solar wonder. The colors deadened in the room as their ardor cooled. They lay together like two murderers at crossing roads, bound together by sin but forced to wander at odds. Mr. Breakwind leaned over the stroke of Puss Titter's dismissive neck and breathed in the ascending cloud of her funk. She was the only girl who knew the true story of his fall and rise. A real arm through the arm type. A heavy Love Nation flower dancer. Mr. Breakwind imagined that up in the heavens, Her guardian angel was digging deep in a basket of souls, like an old woman looking for a favorite ball of yarn. Mr. Breakwind's presence took a purely material shape as he picked up a $100 bill and left the room, walking alone into the regional sanctuaries of their borough like a human being tailpipe. Generated poem. So you can't blame me for it, nor can Willie the Shake, otherwise known as Shakespeare.
Happy birthday.
Billy the Shake. The ocean buried. Do you want a poem? I like that guy. Sign that guy up. You got a good arm on you? Now is the ocean buried, made to court an ambling of mountings, performed in a glorious summer by these fair purported tricks. An ambling barded stern alarum changes to delight the souls of mounting steeds that strut before the stern alarum's chamber. Now, in the ocean buried, the deep bosom of our house is kept by the souls of this sun. I'm going for it, dude. Wherever that guy is. The fearful visages of grim-visaged war, the fearful measures of grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wreaths and hung up our bruised arms for sport, so that I am curtailed of mounting to the clouds that the ocean buried. Now, our brows bound to want love's majesty, to strut before a wanton ambling of these raves. None of the dreadful measures of the ocean buried, nor any monuments that I lord to strut before, could court such ambling barded steeds. What do you know about that? Well, when I'm not reading mangled Shakespearean poetry, I'm reading my emails, as you may guess. And occasionally, I'm offered large sums of money, as I'm sure most of you are occasionally. You know, somebody died in a country you've never gone to, and you got millions of dollars coming your way. Are you familiar with this? Okay, I knew someone who actually lost a fortune. That's their problem. From Father Gorge at pissmail.com. Subject, Ribbon Farms. Greetings, Kipper Budgie. I am the benign rumpus platelet Gorge Moore, an attorney at law based in Fermion, London, and am a solicitor to Mr. Andreas Scanner Ginkgo, a German who died in a radioactive computer crash, along with his entire family. The once body deceased had a deposit of $50 million in one of the leading contumacy banks here in London. But my scapular search for his relative was not a success, and my gridiron proposition to you is to seek your consent to present lecherous you as a relative, next of kin, and beneficiary of my leggy client, so we can share the fantod that comes with any mutually agreed upon percentage. All I require is your honest loco-weed cooperation to enable us to see this ominous transaction through. If this abominable business offends your moral values, do accept my forgiven apology. I must use this invalid opportunity to implore you to exercise the utmost indulgence to keep this funky matter extraordinarily confidential. Sorry, folks. It was a joke. There was no money. Alright, well, might as well do your masturbation bit. That's what we're all doing here, aren't we? All masturbating together. Sorry, that didn't work. Mentally. That's what. I'm getting a buzz that how many people. What am I part of now? Good times.
Good times.
And well, you know, with a come on like that, he decided to write back. Dear George Moore, this is a surprise. Like a day that has passed without incident, the miles ahead have become the miles behind. Oh well, to me it is all the same. A typical woman's mission with all its resources and range. Not so much for me, but for us both. I find that thou art loaded like a horse, maddened by the dust of a passing limousine. You must do your duty now. Each one does what one can, even if it is a mania for shooting people. But you must make it very clear, there are neither kinder nor crueler people, and that is the obscenity of it all. It is very much that way, and many have died. But don't deceive yourself. There is no question of honor, and the game of chance has begun. Look at the ugliness! There is no other approach that rests in your hands, so please do not touch it. It will come of its own free will. All that must be proven is a human fire, human paradox. And I will answer your broad appeal soon. You may be sure of that. Freed by the loss of a nosy heir, my life has never seemed more precious, and my watch has begun to gain time instead of only marking its passing. You mustn't worry about my lack of answer. It is just that I have questions of my own that will force yourself to stillness, just as a guard silently collapses across the railing. To finish with it, I must know why I have been chosen. You must make this very clear. He began a contrite self-punishment, like the act of a remorseful and flagellating penitent. Mr. Brakeman's balls lisped across the regional pornography, his miserable dampness overflowing and becoming a distasteful storm. It wasn't long before Mr. Brakeman branded his melancholic regrets across his stomach, and with his cock wilting like a cumbersome banana, fell into a ruinous slumber. Casual. It's not art damaged. Actually, it's causal. An undefeatable Woody. Read my book, so no one's going to call for any great passage, is it? One here. This is a pornographic email. Might as well end with that. I appreciate everybody who came out tonight. I'd like to introduce the band here. This is Bill Cates. Our favorite, Jim Within.
Jim! Woo! Man, I love you.
And the one and only Rory Borealis, also known as Victor Bell. I'm Anthony Ausgang, and that's your problem. Hey! Hey! Did you hear I got nude during some bitch's bikini photo shoot? It was fantastic. I used my one-eyed monster on that always drunk bitch, even though she's my best buddy. She, thanks to her right, captured on her Samsung how I did it. And you should have seen my genitalias after that experience. Oh yeah. On that same weekend, I also participated in the first 24K cheerleaders nude run. What a blast! Cheerleaders nude run, come on people. Yeah, that's more like it. Hey, I know you want to make your stunningly sexy strokes in the asylum of my butt. since I know nothing makes you happier than hearing a slave's lament at the strap-on fiesta. Strap-on fiesta! Word of caution, don't go to the strap-on fiesta. If you are invited, don't go to the strap-on fiesta. Anyway, get ready for a high-resolution, mind-blowing festivity, because I'll be there, you crazy ducktail. See you then, you sexy cheek. P.S. Did you know I used to be some kind of exotic movie actor? You, my next star, should know me and my job. I want to show you how I lick my own... Hey, maybe you should try your talent in that hot business, since the central subject of porn is fucking, and that's sexy, right? Porn is sexy. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you all. And thank you to Revolution X for the whole opportunity to do this. Stefan here, MC extraordinaire.
Take it off! Take it off,
We want to extend our thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
So great.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Chauncey. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for supporting Revolution X. We're going to close in about 5 minutes. We need to close the door. So we really want to say once again, thank you. And there will be more coming soon.
Yes.
Sure. And once again, bravo to the artists.
Thank you.
And of course, White Will. Of course, the band too.
Yes.
You meant the gods to play, right? You just started doing it.
Yeah, right. That was me. It's like...
I'm down to go. Everything's kind of dated. It's like
We're gonna brave the weather. Weather it is. Really? Yeah.
sent him an email. Not the last one, no way. Well, dude, I missed it.
Have you filmed the whole thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. And I've got a lot of stills.
Take within your bus?
Yeah, he gave me the card earlier.